Well, today's California Profile is here just in time for this year's IndyCar racing season, where you can watch him in the driver's seat of the number 98 Curb Records Honda-powered IndyCar. He won his first IRL IndyCar race in 2001, and this year he joins Team 3G. We're pleased to introduce IndyCar racer Jaq Lazier. Thank you so much for coming on our show, Jaq.
Thank you for having me on, Heather.
You know, one of the things that I find, fascinating, this show is obviously about California. You came here, you went to college in California, married your wife, who's from a racing family, and you're from a racing family.
Yeah, it's been, it's great that my wife and I both come from a racing family. Obviously, it's great for me because I know she knows what I'm going through with the racetrack, and it's just been a great introduction to our family to be out in California, and obviously it's been great for my professional career. I've been able to do, because the weather's so nice here, I've been able to jump around from racetrack to racetrack pretty much all year long and sit there and be able to test at multiple tracks. I can bring my son out and do go-karts at multiple tracks, so it's just the perfect atmosphere.
That's right. So your son is now following in your steps, and your brother, Buddy. And I mean, what is that like? He's only, what, 7?
It's interesting that the whole dynamics of our family. Obviously, my father started off racing, and it's anytime you see your hero out there racing and you see the love and passion he has for the sport, it's hard not to follow him. And that's how I got into racing. I followed my dad, and obviously my brother's out there, and we're very competitive, so we always want to try to beat each other. But now we have a whole nother generation. My son's racing, my brother's son and daughter are racing, and actually my son and his daughter race the same class. So, they're best of friends, they're inseparable. But at the same time, when they're out there on the racetrack, it can get pretty mean. They sit there and bump each other off the track every once in a while, so it's really fun to watch.
For me, I mean, I didn't grow up with that, and anytime I see a wreck or a spin out or anything, I get nervous, You've had your share.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have had my share. I've had, a lot of ups and downs in my career as far as I've gotten only hurt really twice. Both times I did break my back. The last one was definitely the worst, but there's other times. I mean, these cars are so incredibly safe. A lot of the things you learn, or that we've learned in racing, we've been able to translate over to the general public. Obviously, all the crumple zones that you see on cars these days, that's all stuff that we learned at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, it happens. And
you keep going. I mean, you love it.
It is. I can't get away from it for sure. I've tried several times, but it's, I love it. I love the competition. I love the camaraderie that I have with my crew. It really is a team sport, and I expect a lot from them, and they expect a lot from me.
Now, we were just talking about this in the green room earlier. This is something, you're in a car, you were saying, for the Indy 500 for over 4 hours. I mean, what does that do to your body?
Well, obviously, we do a lot of preparatory work before the race, and what I mean by that is, a lot of people don't view race car drivers as athletes, and I would view us more as a triathlete than, what you would see. I always say, in my opinion, probably the greatest athlete of all time is Michael Jordan, and he would have a great night when he went 20 for 40 or something like that, and got 40 points, and he made half his shots. At 220 miles an hour, you're traveling the length of a football field every 7/10 of a second. And you can't only afford to make half the turns because the wall never loses. So you always have to be basically for 4 hours on a longer race and 2 hours on a shorter race. You have to have 100% dedication, 100% focus from the very beginning to the very end.
Now, it is kind of a short season. What do you do to just, stay in tune and keep your endurance? And is that part of the go-kart and things you're doing around the California
It definitely
tracks?
is part of the go-kart, and that is one of the benefits for sure of living out in California. The weather here is perfect, and there's several different go-kart tracks that I can go out, and I have a tag kart, which is basically a push to start, and I'm able to go out, and basically there's 6 tracks I can go to locally and run pretty much any day of the week. And where I think is an advantage over a lot of the other teams, because their drivers aren't able to do that. They live up in Indianapolis and other climates that aren't as ideal as Southern California. So, I can always do that, and then also a lot of cardiovascular work, a lot of running. It's kind of a passion my wife and I have together, is to go out and go for a run in the morning, and it's just a perfect place to live.
Now this has been a tough economy. I mean, for everyone and every business, and how has it affected the Indy race?
It has definitely affected it. We've seen it pretty much across the board, from the large teams to the smaller teams. A lot of the larger teams, even that have pretty much unlimited budgets, are starting to scale back a little bit. The smaller teams are having a more difficult time trying to find the initial funds to make it happen.
Have you seen a big difference from when you first started?
I have seen a huge difference.
Won the race, and your brother has had a lot of success. I mean, compared to now.
Yeah, I have seen a huge difference with it. It's getting more and more difficult to try to find corporate America to find that they want to come in and participate. And a lot of the things we do are business to business relationships. It's not a straight sponsorship like we used to do. So what we're trying to do now is just trying to find different venues that we can get that business to business to happen.
Well, I just think it's wonderful that you've had such a long career, and being from that family, and maybe someday we're going to see your son following in your footsteps. We wish you the best of luck, and thank you so much for coming on our show, Jaq.
Thank you. I appreciate it.